speaking from a perspective of a father, my son is 17. He'll be 18 October. And I've even written articles about this and talked about it on TV. You know, raising a son, and you know, someone who's looking like me the older he gets, and I'm thinking about his prosperity. The only thing I've ever been worried about with my son is what is he going to do as far as college? That's the only thing. I wasn't worried about puberty. I wasn't worried about any of that stuff. Worried about him, being rebellious. Never worried about that. The only thing I've ever been worried about, probably since the age of 12, is like, oh my God, my son's about to be a teenager, and he's going to start thinking about what he's going to do after school. And I think about how unfair of a message it is to spread to kids that the only way for you to find success is to sign on a dotted line. You have no credit history, right? You have no income, you have no job prospects, but you have to sign on a dotted line and have hope that whatever you're intending to pursue is going to work out. And obviously, that's not what happens. And every year, some kid is competing against you, and so on and so forth. And they're unprepared. And then you send them out into the world. So they work at Starbucks making minimum wage and tell them they have to pay back $80,000. Meanwhile, their parents told them, well, that's what we did. Yes, but you're not in their situation. You're not dealing with a gouging student loan market. You're not dealing with universities who can charge whatever they want because the federal government will pay it anyways, right? They're not dealing with these things. And parents, as a parent, I'm saying other parents have given their children bad information, and they're not being aware of what is actually going on. They're just telling them to follow my footsteps. Well, they're following their footsteps into financial hell, basically.
Yeah, it's like the area that they walked through is now flooded, and they tell their kid to walk back through it. That's not a good tactic.
It's like when parents say, well, why don't you just go work at McDonald's? That's how I paid my way through college. Yeah, you can't do that these days.
So how did you inspire your son? What's his next move? What advice did you give him?
I told him the truth. I told him that college is incredibly expensive and you need to weigh all options. There was a period of time that he wanted to do artistry, and he wanted to go over to Japan. I've told him, go to other countries.
Japan's good.
Yeah. Now he's changed that idea and he's still thinking about it. But I'm not one of those parents like, you have to do something as soon as you turn 18. He wants to go bounce around Europe next year, but he's working. Nice. He's been working this entire time. We started doing homeschooling, but I'm having him think for himself rather than force a narrative onto him that the only way to find success in this world is through college. And for me, as someone who worked in IT, I did the same job as everybody else who got their computer science degree. I went to a 11-month program, for a tech school.
Instead of 4 years of bachelor's and crazy amounts of tuition.
Yeah, my student loans are paid off. So, there are alternatives. And I think parents just have to be aware that what you went through is not what these kids are going through. They're set up for failure going that route. They're set up for a lifetime of financial hurt.
And radicalization.
And one other thing I just want to add, we're talking about the economy dipping. Interest rates for housing. My wife and I are looking to buy a house next year. We're looking at the interest rate. What's the situation that we're going to be facing? So now the kids have, I don't know how much money in debt. The interest rates are going up. So even if some kid able to find a decent job, they can't afford to purchase a home. Rent's gone up. One of the reasons we're looking to buy a house is because we renewed our lease, $300 increase. Yep. Now, thankfully, we make decent income together, but we're a married couple. What about these kids? Right. So I foresee that Europe is like a European style setup that's happening in America, because all the European adults that I know, most of them live with other people, live with other adults. They all have roommates.
That's where we're going.